I want to talk to you guys in this video about something that truly changed my life about 18 months ago. In the last 18 months, I have made more financial progress than I have ever made in my adult life combined. And to be completely honest with you, I felt like the reason for it is that I was sleeping under a rock. I think for so long, I just kind of put my finances on the back burner. I kind of just didn't really pay attention to it. I thought, well, I've got a job, I've got a stable career, it's gonna work itself out. In time, everything will be okay. But the truth is that it's not gonna be okay if you don't take the actions and take the necessary steps in order to ensure that it is in fact going to be okay. I was having so much stress and anxiety as an adult, as a parent of a special needs child. The main reason for my anxiety is because I was worried what the future was going to hold. I was so worried what was going to happen to Kaidale if something happened to me. And that was something that had always kind of been there, but it just grew and grew and grew over time. Eventually it got to the point to where I just couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to face that fear. And when I realized that a large majority of that fear can be subdued if I just pay attention to my finances and I just make some progress in that area of my life. I think a large part of the reason why I wasn't focused on finances before is because I genuinely just feel, and I honestly believe this, that money isn't everything. Money doesn't buy you happiness. And to obsess on money is kind of a slippery slope. And so I always focused on areas of my life that fulfilled me and that were most important to me. And what's most important to me in the entire world is being Kaidale's mom and trying my absolute best to provide him with the best childhood, with the most loving and secure home environment possible. But I just couldn't keep ignoring that anxious feeling within me of worry and doubt about the future. And although it is very true that money cannot buy you happiness, money can buy you security and peace and freedom. And so when I realized that and I stopped having such a negative view on, money, before I just felt like money and wealth was just a little bit gluttonous and it was just a little bit, shallow. But then I realized it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be negative. It can be positive. I can want to have financial security and financial freedom because at the end of the day, like I said, money cannot buy you happiness, but it can buy you peace of mind. So that's what I'm really going for. I kind of just stumbled into all of these new thoughts and perspectives regarding money. And a lot of that is thanks to discovering Dave Ramsey and The Ramsey Show on YouTube. It was definitely a turning point in my life, 100%, because it's kind of common knowledge that you don't get taught finances in school. And depending on the type of family that you grow up in, they may talk about finances, they may not. But there definitely is a big problem with financial illiteracy in America. And I fell into that category. I'm gonna be honest with you. So when I discovered Dave Ramsey and my eyes started opening to having different perspectives on money and realizing that first and foremost, anybody can be wealthy. And so that really changed my life, starting to listen to The Ramsey Show and realizing that I'm just a single mom who's a nurse. I make a modest income, I make enough to pay our bills, but I'm not wealthy by any means. But listening to The Ramsey Show and realizing that any average Joe can be wealthy, can build wealth, and can retire comfortably. That really gave me a lot of hope and determination to want to give it my all and try my best to pursue this Ramsey method. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about the Ramsey method, what that means, and where exactly I am at within the Ramsey method. And if you ask any of my family or friends or anybody that talks to me on a frequent basis over the last year and a half, you will know that I am a tad obsessed with The Ramsey Show. I watch it all the time and I feel like I have a pretty thorough understanding of their basic principles. So I want to start off by talking about some what I call Dave-isms, things that he says all the time that are really just true statements and kind of true perspectives. The first one is going to be, don't take financial advice from broke people. Social media is just absolutely flooded with TikTokers, influencers, people trying to give you advice or influence you. Sometimes it can be a wolf in sheep's clothing and you think that they have this great idea and you're just gonna take their word for it. But unless they have built wealth, built a successful company or something like that, don't listen to them. Listen to the people who have been there, done that, know what they're talking about. And that is why I trust Dave Ramsey so much. And I trust the Ramsey method is because he not only has gone from being bankrupt to a multi-millionaire and having this massive company with, you know, thousands of employees underneath him. Not only that, but he's also helped so many people to also become millionaires. His whole principle is that the everyday person can become a millionaire. He actually did a study with 10,000 millionaires, and he talks about this all the time. You can look up the statistics on his website if you want to fact check me. But he did a massive study with 10,000 millionaires, and the number 3 job occupation of the millionaires that he surveyed were teachers. So that just goes to show you that anybody can become a millionaire. And in fact, another Daveism is that he always says, building wealth is about 80% behavior, 20% income. So what that means is that a person with a modest income can still build wealth. If they have the correct set of behaviors, they have the correct mind frame in order to build that wealth, anybody can become wealthy. So that really gave me a lot of hope because, you know, like I said, I'm a single mom who's a nurse with a modest income. You know, it's not bad. I certainly have enough money to meet all of me and Kaidale's basic needs, but I just never thought that I was going to be, you know, having an average income. I never thought that I was going to be able to build wealth. But when he said that building wealth is really only 20% about your income and 80% about your behavior and the decisions that you make, that really kind of gave me hope, and it really kind of planted the seed that I can do this. Another Daveism that he always talks about is how rich people can be broke, and people that you would maybe consider not rich, like poor people, can be wealthy. It's along the same lines. People with, you know, massive income, the more money you make, the more money you spend. So if you believe what I just said about building wealth being 80% behavior, people with big income, 6-7 figures, whatever, can run themselves into being broke by spending too much and not being responsible with their money. So it's really not about income or about how much you make. It's just about the decisions that you make behind that. And a person who, you know, makes below the average income, as long as they are maintaining positive financial behaviors, saving, investing, things like that, living below your means, not spending all of your income, then people that are considered not wealthy or poor, you know, can build wealth, which is really cool. You know, your average person can, you know, not to say that your average person is poor, but I'm just kind of giving you an example of like, well, the opposite of rich is poor. So a rich person can be broke and a poor person can be rich, if that makes sense. Okay, the last Daveism that I'm going to tell you about, and that's going to lead us right into explaining the baby steps, is that your biggest wealth building tool is your income. Moving right into the baby steps, what he means by that is that you really got to get a hold of your debt. If you're spending all of your income on minimum monthly payments, paying the banks and credit cards interest, blah, 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 blowing it on things that you don't need, you're not gonna wear, that are total wants and not needs. If you're blowing all of your income, if you're blowing all your paycheck the second that you get it, you're not gonna be able to build wealth because you're sabotaging your biggest wealth building tool, which is your income. So you've got to get a hold of your income. You've got to dial it in. You've got to sit down. You've got to make a budget. You've got to go over your cost of living, your basic bills, your rent, your electricity, your water, your groceries. You've got to go through and look at those and come up with a tight budget and quit spending your money on crap that you don't need. So the first baby step is that you're going to put $1,000 to the side, and that's going to be your mini emergency fund. And the whole purpose of that is that it's not a full emergency fund. It's not going to cover you in the event that a true emergency happens. But the whole purpose of baby step 1, $1,000 mini emergency fund, is that while you're working on baby step 2, which is paying off your debt, you have that little bit of cushion room. So just in case, you know, you hit a speed bump. For me, I actually had my alternator go out in my car, so I had to get my alternator fixed while I was working on paying off my debt. Luckily, I had that $1,000, so it didn't push me back at all when I was working on my debt. I was able to just defer to that, get the alternator fixed, and keep chugging along with my debt payments. So that's the first step, is you're gonna put $1,000 to the side. Once you've got $1,000 to the side and it's easily accessible, you know, stuff it under your mattress, put it in your bank savings account, put it in an envelope, so whatever you have to do. Your second step is going to be paying off all of your debt except for your mortgage if you have a mortgage. So you're going to pay off your credit card, you're going to pay off your student loans, personal loans, whatever kind of debt you have, you're going to knock it out using the debt snowball, which is you start with the smallest debt For me, I had an Affirm loan, which is like a personal loan. I had bought, I can't remember exactly what I bought. I think it was not the treadmill. It was, yeah, it was I had bought a treadmill and some other workout equipment for my garage. And just not knowing any better, I used Affirm because I didn't want to take it out of my current check that I had just got. So I figured I would do the buy now, pay later, which is never, ever, ever something I will do again. So you start with your smallest loan. For me, it was like a $500 Affirm loan. So you start with that, you knock that out, then you move on to the next biggest debt, which for me, I had like $1,000 credit card. It was like my first credit card I had years ago. And so that's going to be the next biggest one. And you knock that out, then you move on to the next biggest one, which for me was like a $5,500 credit card. So I started chipping away at that. Once I got that paid off, I went to my next biggest, which was my student loan. And that took me a little bit longer, but I was able to accomplish all that in like 12 months. I was able to completely get out of debt. And so the beauty of being out of debt is that I have more of my income to build wealth. I have more of my check that's coming to me every other week, and it's not tied up with paying off, you know, stupid buy now, pay later stuff that I just bought on impulse. And it's not going to make the banks rich because I'm paying them however much in interest. It's all coming to me, and I can utilize that to start to build wealth. Okay, the third baby step 3, which is where I currently am, is saving up a fully funded emergency fund. So baby step 1, you had that little baby emergency fund, and that was just to give you some cushion while you're working on baby step 2. But then when you get to baby step 3 and your debt's paid off, you're going to build a fully funded emergency fund, which is 3 to 6 months of expenses. So whatever your monthly expenses are, you're going to times it by anywhere from 3 to 6. Whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you feel like brings you peace in case a true emergency happens. You know, you get fired from your job, you know, you, God forbid, have an accident of some sort and you can't work for a little while. There's so many things that can and, you know, very likely will happen. I mean, you just never know. So it's better to have that 3 to 6 months in the bank so that if something were to happen, you're not panicking. You're not worried about getting evicted. You're not worried about robbing Peter to pay Paul. You have cushion to keep you afloat for several months while you recover or look for a new job or whatever the emergency happened to have been. What Dave always says, as I know this because I watch his show obsessively, what he always says is when you're working on steps 1 through 3, there needs to be intensity. So intensity at gazelle speed. And so that means you're in panic mode. Until you get out of baby step 3, you're living in an emergency state. You need to go as fast and as hard as you can. You need to get the second job. You need to pick up the overtime. You need to sell whatever it is you can sell to get yourself in the clear zone as quickly as possible. You got to get rid of your debt. You got to get your emergency fund. Then you can really start to breathe and you can shift from intensity to being intentional. So once you get through baby step 3, which like I said, that's where I currently am. Overtime has slowed down at my job a little bit, so I'm actually exploring options to pick up second jobs or side hustles just so that I can hurry up and get in the clear zone to where I feel like I can breathe, I don't have debt, and I've got my emergency fund saved up. So baby steps 4, 5, and 6 are going to be the intentional, where you're more intentional with your money. You know, it's not fight or flight. You're not in an emergency intense state. It's just more you're living your life and you're intentional with your money. So you can kind of take a deep breath, and what baby steps 4, 5, and 6 are is you're going to start investing at that point. All of your investments, all of your, should be paused while you're working on baby steps 1 through 3. When you get to baby step 4, you're going to unpause your investing or start if you haven't started. And you're going to put 15% of your income into an investment like a retirement account, 401k, IRA, whatever your version of investing is. You're going to put 15% of your income into investing, and you're just going to do that casually for the rest of your life. And that's just going to be kind of a routine thing that just happens automatically. And if you can automate your investing, even better, set it up to where your 401k or your retirement account or whatever just automatically will take 15% of your check every time you get paid. That way you don't even have to think about it. It's just an automatic thing. And over time, with compound interest, you will eventually get to where 15% of your income will lead you to becoming a millionaire. As long as you aren't making stupid decisions like going back into debt or buying things that you can't afford, as long as you're not doing things like that, as long as you're being intentional with your money and you're consistently saving 15%, it should eventually lead you over time with compound interest to that millionaire status. Okay, so after baby step 3 is actually, there is a baby step 3B, which is gonna be my next step because I'm not a homeowner, I'm a renter. So according to the Ramsey Method, the only reason it's okay to go back into debt after you're out of debt is if you are not a homeowner and you would like to be. And it's really a financially wise decision to be a homeowner if you can get to that point, because every single year rent will increase according to, depending on the economy and where you live and things like that. Rent's always going to increase, right? It's not going to go down. It's always going to go up. But if you can get yourself locked into a fixed mortgage, then you can depend on that consistently staying the same until you're able to pay off your home. So I certainly have experienced this from the time since Kato has been little to now. Rent has gone up tremendously. And it's always been my goal to be a homeowner, but we just have never gotten to that point. Well, now that I finally feel like I have a clear path that I'm on, I do see that totally being a possibility in our future. So I'm working on baby step 3. I'm working on my 3 to 6 month emergency fund, but next I'm going to be going into baby step 3B because I'm not a homeowner. Baby step 3B is saving up for your down payment. And of course, the bigger the down payment, the less your monthly mortgage is going to be. So, that's kind of a separate topic, but it's always a good idea to save up as much as you possibly can. So because I am not a homeowner, that's what I'll be doing. But you can, if you are already a homeowner, you can move right along to baby step 4, which is going to be the investing that we talked about. And so you're always going to want to consistently put 15% of your income into an investment account for the remainder of your life. Just keep doing it. And eventually it'll compound and it'll grow like crazy. Baby steps 5, 6, and 7 is going to be, if you have a mortgage, you're going to pay it off as quickly as possible. So, you want to double up on your payments if you can. You want to get rid of that mortgage because that is ultimately going to bring you financial peace of mind and freedom to, again, release more of your income to be able to do more things. So, you can do whatever you want to do. You can put more into an investment account at that point. Once your mortgage is paid off, you can save up to buy a rental property if you want, whatever you want to do. Baby steps 4 through 7, you're kind of going to do simultaneously. You're going to put that 15% into an investment account. You're going to pay off your mortgage as quickly as possible. Also, you're going to be saving up for your kids' college fund. So you're going to be putting whatever extra money, as much as you can, into a college fund for your kid. The last and final baby step, which is baby step 7, and at that point you're going to be a millionaire. And what they always say on the Ramsey show is, at that point, baby step 7, you're going to live like no one else and give like no one else. So it's all about gratitude and giving back, because not only is it helpful for other people and you're doing a really good deed, but there is something in you that changes when you're able to give to others. It brings you a sense of joy and a sense of just peace that is honestly equally as beneficial to you as the recipient of your giving. So that's the last phase of the baby steps, and I can't wait to get there. I really hope that this video served you well. I hope that you maybe it planted a seed for you if you're like me and you just don't really know anything about finances, but you want to be comfortable and you want to be financially stable. Hopefully this video planted a seed for you, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. That's kind of the reason that I'm wanting to do these Financial Friday videos, is because I know that it's very common to not really have any sense of direction as far as your own personal financial journey. I know that's where I was. I know a lot of people feel that way. I know there's so much financial advice out there, and I am not trying to give you financial advice. I'm just trying to explain my process and maybe set off some light bulbs so that you can kind of go explore other resources and find your process. And if the Ramsey Method sounds like something that might work for you, I would just encourage you to go check out the free content online. You don't have to purchase any courses or buy any books, or you don't have to get sold anything. You can just check out the free content like I did and just listen to it every day in the background while you're doing your chores and your dishes and driving to go pick up the kids. Whatever you're doing, just listen to it in the background and just kind of you know, the more you listen, the more it'll sink in and the more it'll start to make sense. So that's really the only purpose of this video for me, is just to hopefully shed light on my own financial journey so that maybe you can get something out of it and it can inspire you to go on your own financial journey if you're not already. And if you are, tell me who your favorite financial online personality types are. You know, if you prefer to listen to another podcast or another, I know there are a dime a dozen, there's like a million financial gurus out there on the internet. But going back to my very first point, you do have to be careful who you take advice from and make sure they're not a wolf in sheep's clothing and they're not just trying to like sell you something or sell you their, you know, their course or whatever. You have to definitely be careful and go with your instincts. And for me, I just really trust Dave Ramsey. I really trust the Ramsey method. It's, you know, he's not trying to sell you anything. I truly believe that he is just trying to help educate America and help people that were like him at one time, who, you know, he talks about all the time how he was bankrupt with 2 little kids and a wife, and, you know, a bunch of unexpected things happened to him. So he learned, he developed this Ramsey method based on his own life experience, and he's helped so many people get out of debt like me, and he's helped so many people to achieve millionaire status, which I am hoping to do. My own personal goal is to achieve millionaire status in 10 years. And I know that that is a massive goal. That's a big thing to take on, but I think I can do it. And I would rather shoot high and not, you know, quite get there than to shoot low and achieve my goal. I'd rather shoot high and not achieve it, and rather than like shoot low and, you know, achieve it, but it's not that big of a goal. So for me, I'm shooting for the stars. I'm coming up with a big goal, and within 10 years, I want to be a net worth millionaire. So we'll see. Wish me luck, and thanks for watching.